Well, hello and welcome. I'm Angela Loria, the founder of the Author Incubator and creator of the difference process for writing a book that matters. And I don't think we've ever had a book that mattered more than this one does for really the growth and transformation of the planet. This is best-selling author Dr. Kathy Obear's third book, and one that I think is going to make a big difference in lots of lives, Kathy. In it for the long haul. This book is Overcoming Burnout and Passion Fatigue for Social Justice Change Agents. We need agents of change more than ever right now. So let's talk about what is the message of In It for the Long Haul.
Well, I wrote this book for people that are just throwing their whole selves into creating change, creating social justice, and that are finding they're tired, they're exhausted, they're burnout after this November election, maybe hopeless, depressed, deflated, and feeling like it's their fault. And so I wrote it for them to have some hope and realize how they could create sustainable energy over the long haul.
Yeah, and I want to say, like, not even just their fault, but like, it's like you're not, right now, you're not allowed to be burned out. Like maybe, 19, I don't know, 19, what year am I in? 2012 was a great year to be burned out. Take the year off, go hiking in Alaska, right? But seriously, right now, 2017, 2018, you are not allowed to be burned out. That's the message. And if you are, you're a quitter, you're letting us down. Look at what's happening every day. So the guilt and the shame, I think, that the change agents at all levels. So when we're talking about agents of change, social justice, people fighting for social justice, let's talk about how does this span? What's the scope? Who are you talking about here?
Well, I used to think it was just the activists on the front line, and I always felt guilty because I wasn't that. Now I realize it's people in organizations, in our colleges, K-12, and our community organizations, parents, anyone who is wanting life to be different for their children, for us today. So they're trying to change organizations from within or from the outside to create greater equity, inclusion, to have people treat people fairly with respect. And what you were saying earlier, it's not only every day, every hour I'm on Facebook, there's another news feed of something else. It's a chaos. And so I think most of us are just on adrenaline overload and just stressed out all the time and just exhausted, not knowing what's going to come next.
Right. Okay. This book, ultimately, when you're talking about overcoming burnout, passion, fatigue, we have to be honest with people. This comes down to taking care of yourself and, to some extent, prioritizing yourself. A lot of people are going to say that's selfish.
Privilege.
Yeah. So what do you say to that?
I burned out several times in my life, and then I was no use to everyone. I'd thrown myself in, sacrificed, gave it my all, as I see people doing. But then I'd be irritable, obnoxious. I'd get sick. I'd get a little better. I'd get sick again. And then I dropped out because, so many people have to stay in it for the long haul. So it's not selfish. It's actually taking care of ourselves. As Audre Lorde said, it's actually a revolutionary act to take care of ourselves. So we can stay in it with everyone moving forward.
Yeah. Okay. What's the mistake that you see people making, maybe especially now when the pressure is so intense? What's the mistake that you really, if you had a megaphone and we could just say one message, one sentence, one tweet to everyone who believes in social justice, what's that mistake that they're making that you'd want them to know? Stop.
They're hiding. Scared, they think they're incompetent, they're guilty, they're ashamed, like you said, and so they're not telling anyone. And if we would just get honest with our colleagues, our family, especially the people we're organizing change with, you'll find you're not alone, that most everyone else is exhausted, burned out, depleted, deflated. And so if we talk about it, we can then support each other, create community care, and change maybe how we're doing the work so we can sustain everyone for the long haul and truly dismantle the oppression we're fighting against and create the liberation we all know is possible.
Yes.
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 Let's do it.
I'm so excited by your message because I have a good friend who works for a big union, so I've been to lots of union rallies, and they all say the same thing. They're like, fight. We have to fight. We have to fight. We have to keep fighting. We have to fight harder than ever. And like, I agree, we have to fight. Like, I totally agree. And if we don't give the people who are on the front lines the freedom to, like, I don't know, to have a long weekend and maybe like kick back and play a board game, it's like they're not gonna be there to do the fighting. You just can't keep going.
And even you just now, your voice changed. Did you notice? As you talked about fighting, you just felt, I mean, you sat back in your chair. So another thing we need to do is create the vision. What are we working towards? Because if we're only fighting against something, to be honest, that feeds their energy. So if we imagine and come together as communities, what are we fighting? No, what are we building? What do we want to create? What are we imagining as possible? That will give us some of the energy, help with the self-care, maybe give us a chance to help with our own healing work so that we can sustain for the long haul.
Yeah. And there is nothing selfish about that, for sure. In It for the Long Haul, book number 3. How do you feel about this message compared to the other two? How does this rank for you in terms of your work in the world?
I feel so excited about this. But if we're not navigating difficult situations and triggering dynamics, then we don't do self-care. If we're not looking at how we are feeling, we might be afraid we're racist, and we're not staying in it and what's well-meaning and really understand the racist dynamics we whites do, then we're not going to be able to do self-care, and we're going to create stress for all the folks of color we're working with who maybe wish we did burn out and go away. And this one, I think, really brings it all together. I think we need all 3 of them to sustain us in this work.
So how do people find you? How do they work with you? How do they connect with you? How do these books tie together? Tell us more about your world.
Well, all the books are available on Amazon, and people can find me on Facebook, Kathy Obear. They can tweet, Twitter. I'm not quite up to date, but at Kathy Obear, I know that much.
Someone will read it.
I know. And then my website,
people.
Dr. Kathy Obear, drkathyobear.com. You'll be able to find out the work that I do. My new Center for Transformation and Change. It's a very exciting place where people can work with me in the short term in classes or a whole year-long development mentoring program for change agents on how to learn everything that I know, everything I can do, I'm giving away because I want thousands of people moving in and doing this work.
Love that. This is really, I know for you, about building legacy and about sharing. It's not about proprietary, keeping these messages to yourself. This is about giving it all away, getting this work out into the world. It is so important. If you are feeling called to make a bigger difference, if you feel like when Kathy talks about the Center for Change,
Transformation and Change,
Center for Transformation and Change, and you're thinking, wow, at some point, I'm going to put that on my dream board. At some point in the future, when I'm officially a change agent, when I get a promotion, when I finally get to leave my job as an admin and go do the work at the NGO that I've always wanted to. If you think it's someday in the future, this message is for you. The future is right now. You need to find drkathyobear.com because when Kathy talks about building this community, it does not mean you have to wait for someday in the future when you have it figured out. She's going to help you figure out what it means right now. I think that's so important because I know I spent so much time waiting to be seen, waiting to be discovered.
To be picked.
To be picked.
But we can do it right now where we are.
So powerful. So pick yourself because the world needs you. There's a mentor here waiting to help you. drkathyobear.com. Book number 3, In It for the Long Haul. Get it on Amazon today. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much.